Hi there, dear students. Welcome to Sayahdeen Academy's English lesson. Today we are gonna look at some most frequently used phrasal verbs. We will look at stress out, come up with, bring up, stand out, look up, figure out, wake up, get up, turn on, and turn off. So in our today's lesson, we will try to learn their meanings, and we will also learn how we can use them properly. And remember, if you want to sound like native, if you want to improve your speaking, if you want to be good at speaking, and if you want to get a good band score in your IELTS speaking module, and also if you want to improve your listening, if you want to understand the native speakers, then you must learn phrasal verbs, because native speakers always use phrasal verbs in their speaking more than anything else. So stay with us to learn these verbs, these phrasal verbs, till the end of today's lesson. So let's get started. The first phrasal verb we have today is stress out. It means to cause mental or emotional strain or tension in you. And it also has an informal meaning, which is to become tense or anxious or to worry. So we will try to understand these two meanings of this word stress out in this small piece of writing. So let me quickly read this whole thing and then I will try to explain it. Thinking of hard work stresses you out. Is it a good sign? I don't think so. One shouldn't stress out thinking of hard work, because if you want to do something big and important, then you need a lot of courage, a lot of mental power. Mental or emotional strain doesn't help you at all. Remember, stressing out ruins your own bright future. If something stresses you out, tell yourself, many people are doing things even bigger and more important. How are they doing so? They are doing it with mental power, not mental strain and tension. So if you want to do something great, look at great people. Okay, let's go over it one more time, trying to understand what these words mean. Thinking of hard work stresses you out. When you think of hard work, it stresses you out, meaning it causes mental strain, mental tension in you. And you stress out. You become tense. You become anxious. You worry. This is what it means. Okay, is it a good sign? I don't think so. That's my opinion. One shouldn't stress out thinking of hard work. So one shouldn't stress out, meaning one shouldn't become tense. One shouldn't become anxious. One shouldn't worry. Okay, this is intransitive usage of this word. In the first example we saw, thinking of hard work stresses you out. This is transitive, it has an object. On the other hand, in this sentence, we don't have an object. So these are two different usages of this word stress out. And this is a very common word. If you want to speak English, you should know this. Okay, so one shouldn't stress out thinking of hard work. Why? Because if you want to do something big and important, then you need a lot of courage, which is the opposite of mental strain or tension. It's mental power. You need a lot of mental power, a lot of mental courage. So the reality is mental or emotional strain, mental or emotional tension Worrying doesn't help you at all. It doesn't help you with anything. So you need to remember, stressing out ruins your own bright future. If you stress out about anything, you are not gonna be able to do anything good in your life. So you will lose your bright future. But if you stop stressing out and have mental power, have courage, then you will have a bright future. On the other hand, if you don't have mental power and you stress out, then you will ruin your own bright future. Okay, if something stresses you out, tell yourself, this is how you should encourage yourself. If something stresses you out, tell yourself that many people are doing things even bigger and more important. So you want to do something important, but there are people who are doing things even more important than yours. So look at those great people. When you look at people who are doing things bigger than you want to do, you encourage yourself. You gain mental power. You get motivated, you get motivation. And when you get motivated, when you have mental power, when you are emotionally encouraged, you find it easy to do even difficult things. So this is how psychology works. So how are they doing so? They are doing it with mental power, not with mental strain or tension. This is negative, so think positively. So if you want to do something great, look at great people. This is a small piece of advice from myself. So that's it. We've done our first word. Stress out means to cause mental or emotional strain, tension, worry. Yeah. Or this is a transitive verb. So something stresses you out, or you just stress out about something, which is you become tense or anxious about something. You worry about something. Okay, the first one is done. Good. Let's move on to the second one. The second one is to come up with. It means to produce something, to provide something, to give something basically, or to think of something, especially when pressured or challenged. So maybe you are under pressure or you are challenged. Someone challenged you. Yes, something challenged you or someone challenged you. You are under pressure, under a challenge, and you need to do this. Either think of something or you should provide or produce something. When you do this, we say you come up with something. So when you come up with something, you produce something or you provide something or you think of something. Okay. And it's specifically when you are under pressure. Okay. Let's read the piece of text we have. He keeps coming up with all kinds of lame excuses. He seems to forget that if he doesn't come up with the money on time, he will be in trouble. In such situations, excuses don't work. So he should rather come up with a better idea to help himself. They say, let him come up with the money on time, or let him come up with the idea of selling part of his share, as it is suggested in the company's constitution. We can't break the rules of our company because of him. Okay, so let me go over the text again, explaining what the word or the phrasal verb come up with means. He keeps coming up with all kinds of lame excuses. Lame is like unacceptable excuses. So he keeps giving excuses, basically. He keeps producing or providing excuses. Yeah, he keeps coming up with all kinds of lame excuses, all kinds of unacceptable excuses. these excuses are not acceptable, and he keeps coming up with them. He keeps giving those excuses. Okay. He seems to forget that if he doesn't come up with money on time, if he doesn't come up with money, if he doesn't provide money, if he doesn't give money again. So if he doesn't provide money on time, then he will be in trouble. There will be problem. So in such situations, excuses don't work. Okay. So he should rather, it's a piece of advice for him, he should rather come up with a better idea. Now he should think of a better idea to help himself. So he should think of an idea that can help him. He shouldn't just come up with lame excuses. Okay. Either he should come up with the money on time, or he should come up with a better idea to help himself. Yeah, he should think of a better idea to help himself. So they say, people in question, they say, let him come up with the money on time. So they give him two options. Let him come up with the money on time, or let him come up with the idea of selling part of his share. So we can understand that there's a it's talking about a company basically. So a shareholder is not able to provide the money on time. So the rest of the shareholders are saying, let him come up with the money on time. Or the second option is let him come up with the idea of selling part of his share. So either he should come up with the money, he should provide the money, or he should come up with the idea. He should think of the idea of selling part of his share. So he should agree to sell part of his share to the rest of the shareholders, as it is suggested in the company's constitution. So this is their company's rule. So they said, we can't break the rules of our company just because of him. So we'll stick to our rules, and he should either come up with money or come up with the idea of selling part of his share to help himself. So hopefully you understood. Again, come up with means to produce something, to provide something, to think of something. And you do this when you are under pressure. Look at him. He's under pressure now. They ask him to give the money for the company as his share, but he's not able to. So they give him two options. So this is a situation that challenges him. He is under pressure now. So he has to think quickly. So he should come up with money, or he should come up with the idea of selling part of his share. So we can understand the situation that it's not a normal situation. It's a situation where he is challenged. He is under pressure. Okay, hopefully you understood the second phrasal verb. Okay. Our third phrasal verb is bring up. It means to raise a matter for discussion or for consideration. So when you bring up something, you raise it for discussion or consideration. Let's read the piece of text we have. She tried repeatedly to bring up the subject of money, but she couldn't bring it up because no one wanted her to bring up the subject of money. Every time she tried to bring up the subject of money, someone else brought up another subject, and everyone started to listen to him. So she realized the situation, and towards the end, she stood up and said, there is something very, very important. I must bring it up before we finish the meeting, or else no plans will work. It's the money we need to implement our plans. Everyone was kind of surprised to see her courage, but she finally did bring up the subject of money, and they had to come up with the ideas of funding their projects. Okay, let's go over it again, trying to understand the meaning. She tried repeatedly to bring up the subject of money. It's pretty clear, actually. She tried to bring up. she tried to raise the subject of money. So they were in a meeting talking about many different things, and she tried to bring up the subject of money. She tried to talk about the money they needed, but she couldn't bring it up. She couldn't raise this matter, this subject, because no one wanted her to bring it up, to bring up the subject of money. No one wanted to talk about money. They were just, in the dream world, talking about many plans, but without thinking of the aspect of money. So every time she tried, she couldn't. Every time she tried to bring it up, to bring up the subject of money, to raise the subject of money, someone else raised another subject. Someone else brought up another subject. Someone else raised another subject, and everyone, got busy with listening to that person. So she realized that it's not going to work. She has to change. She has to come up with a new idea. Again, we are using that phrasal verb. So she came up with the idea of courage. She got up, she stood up, and said something very clearly. There is something very, very important. I must bring it up. I must raise it, okay, before we finish the meeting. And it's the money, she said, it's the money we need to implement our plans. You guys are planning for many different things, but no one wants to talk about the money. Without money, no plans will work. We won't be able to do anything without money. So finally, she brought it up. She raised the subject of money, and they had to deal with it. They had to come up with the ideas of funding their projects. So bring up, to raise up, to raise a matter for discussion, to raise a matter for discussion. Bring up, to raise a matter for discussion or consideration. Hopefully you understood phrasal verb number 3. Okay. Now, number 4, stand out. Okay. Stand out means to project from a surface or to stick out. It's the same thing. So from a surface, something projects, something sticks out. Yeah. We'll understand it better in the example. To be easily noticeable. Yeah. When something stands out, you can easily notice it. You can easily see it. Or to be clearly better or more significant than someone or something else. So when something stands out or someone stands out, he is better than someone else in that. Okay? Or when something stands out, it is better than something else. So let's read this piece of text. If you look at his neck, you can easily notice the veins because they stand out. Likewise, if he stands in a crowd, you can easily recognize him because he is tall and a muscled man. So he easily stands out from the crowd. By the way, he is a professional wrestler. He wins the wrestling matches 9 out of 10 times. So he stands out from the crowd as a wrestler too. Okay, let's understand this text. So if you look at his neck, yeah, you can easily see the veins on his neck because the veins on his neck stands out. The veins in his neck stand out, meaning stick out. They kind of stick out. You can easily see them. So the neck is the surface and the veins are coming out of the neck. Yeah, they are kind of what should I call it? So it sticks out, and you can see it. It projects. It sticks out. It's like extra. It looks like extra flesh on the neck, so you can easily understand the way it's the vein. It's not the flesh. It's the vein. Okay. When the veins stand out or stick out, you can easily see them. Okay. Likewise, if this person, if he stands in a crowd, you can easily recognize him because he is tall. So if he stands in a group of people, you can easily recognize him because he will be taller than everyone else. And also he's a muscled man. He's got muscles in his body. So, I mean, like, he did work out, and now he built that muscle. You can easily see them. So yeah, he stands out from the crowd easily, so you can recognize him easily. Also, he's a professional wrestler, and mostly he wins when he plays a match of wrestling. And in that wrestling, he stands out from the crowd. Why? Because he wins 9 out of 10 times. So most of the times he wins, so he stands out. He performs better. He is better than other wrestlers. So as a professional wrestler, as a wrestler, he is better than other wrestlers. So hopefully you understood it. Firstly, when something stands out, you can easily see that thing because it projects or sticks out from a surface. And I've got the other example. When he stands in a crowd, you can easily see him because he stands out of the crowd. He stands out from the crowd. And if someone does something better than someone else, we say he stands out. So for example, 5 or 10 people gave the interview, and one of them stands out, meaning one of them does the best out of all the interviewers. So here you go. We've got the 4th one done. Okay, now number 5, look up. This is a nice word. It means search for and find a piece of information in a book or a database. So look up, it literally seek information from a source. Yeah, maybe it's a book or a dictionary or a place or a database or a system. It could be anything. So you look up something. When you look up something, you seek information about it. So let's go. Let's read this piece of text. Translation is not an easy task to do. For a good translation, you must look up words, expressions, grammatical structures, and colloquial usages and culture in both the source and the target language. If you were well versed in one language and not in the other, you can never give a good translation. It's just impossible, even if you have all the resources to look up things in. So master the source language and the target language and look up everything in both languages and then try to translate. Hopefully you will be able to come up with a good translation. Okay, this is a good piece of text. Let's try to understand what it means to look up in this context. So when you want to translate something, yeah, you translate it from one language to the other. Yeah, so from your language into English, let's say, maybe Bengali, Hindi, Spanish, Urdu, I don't know, could be any language. So what you should do, you should look up words, meaning you should look up, you should seek information, you should search for information about words, expressions, grammatical structures, and colloquial usages, and also culture. So you should look up all these things, and then in both languages, in the source language, the language you are translating it from, and the target language, the language you are translating something into. So you should look up these things, words, expressions, grammatical structures, colloquial usages, and culture. And when you look up all these things, and then you are well versed in the source language and the target language, you will be able to translate it properly. Okay, but if you are not well versed, let's say you are well versed in your own language, but not in English, then what will happen? You have all the resources, yeah, all the books, all the dictionaries, all grammar books and everything else, but you won't be able to use them because you haven't studied and you haven't learned this target language properly. So it's not going to help you. You won't be able to translate it properly. So yeah, you can look up all these things, but because you didn't learn it, you didn't study this language properly, you won't be able to translate it, translate something into this language. So yeah, again, when you look up something, you search for information, you find a piece of information somewhere. Okay, this is what it means. It's very important. We always say like, oh, I don't know this word, I need to look it up. I need to look it up in the dictionary. I need to look up this word in the dictionary. Yeah. Okay, number 5 is done. Let's move on to the number 6. Okay, number 6 is figure out. It means to solve a problem or to discover the answer to a question or find the solution to a problem or question or understand the meaning of something. Okay, simply speaking, when you figure something out or when you figure out something, you find the solution of it. Yeah, you discover the solution of it to it. So, or you understand it. Yeah, either you discover the solution to some problem or you understand something. So let's read this piece of text quickly to understand it. He was trying to figure out why the camera wasn't working. He tried and tried. He got tired, but he couldn't figure out the cause. Forget about him figuring out the solution. Finally, he asked his cousin to figure out why the camera wasn't working. His cousin figured it out. His cousin figured it out in no time and explained it to him. Now he finds it very easy to figure out what stops his camera from working. He says, without proper knowledge, you can't figure out the simplest problem. Okay, let's go over this text one more time, trying to understand the meaning. He was trying to figure out why the camera wasn't working. So he was trying to discover, or he was trying to find the cause, the reason why the camera wasn't working. He was trying to figure out, he was trying to discover, or he was trying to find. So he tried and tried, he got tired, he couldn't figure out the cause. He couldn't discover, he couldn't find the cause. Okay, forget about him figuring out the solution. So forget about him solving the problem. He couldn't even figure out the problem, so how could he solve it? Finally, he asked his cousin to figure out why the camera wasn't working. So he asked his cousin to figure it out. And what did he do? His cousin figured it out in no time. He took no time. He just figured it out straight away. And then he explained it to him. And now he finds it easy to figure out what stops his camera from working. Now he knows. Now he understands. Yeah. Now he finds it easy to figure out. Now he finds it easy to understand what stops his camera from working. Yeah, to understand the cause. So he says, without proper knowledge, you can't figure out the simplest problem. And that's true. If you don't have the proper knowledge about something, then you will just waste time, spend time and waste it. You will never be able to figure it out, even if the problem is the simplest one. Yeah. So when you figure out something, you find a solution, or you discover a solution, or you understand something. Okay. That's it. Number 6 is done. Okay. Now we have number 7 and number 8. So these are very easy. Wake up, it means to stop sleeping, or cause to stop sleeping. Actually, this word has two meanings. Either you wake up, you stop sleeping yourself, or cause to stop sleeping, meaning you cause someone to stop sleeping. You wake up or you wake someone else up. We'll see the example. And then get up. Get up means to rise from bed after sleeping. Okay, get up and wake up are not the same. They are different. That's why I put them together, so you know the difference. Wake up to stop sleeping. Get up to rise from bed after sleeping. You already woke up and now you are getting up, meaning you are rising from bed. You are leaving the bed. Okay, let's read this piece of text. He wakes up at 6:30 a.m., but he gets up at 7 a.m. He just lies down for 30 minutes after he wakes up and before he gets up. When he gets up, he wakes everyone up. Then everyone gets up after him. So let's go over it one more time, trying to understand the meaning. He wakes up at 6:30 a.m., meaning he stops sleeping. Does it mean he gets up? The answer is no. He gets up at 7 a.m. So half an hour, he just lies down on bed. Yeah, for 30 minutes, he just lies down. For half an hour, he just lies down on the bed. He doesn't sleep. He stops sleeping at 6:30, and from 6:30 to 7 a.m., he is awake. He's not sleeping, but he didn't get up yet. He didn't leave his bed yet. He gets up at 7 a.m. Okay. Meaning he lies down on the bed for 30 minutes after he wakes up and before he gets up. So between waking up and getting up, there's 30 minutes and he just lies down and relaxes. When he gets up, meaning when he leaves the bed, he wakes everyone up, meaning he causes everyone to stop sleeping. He goes to them and say, wake up, no more sleeping, stop sleeping. Yeah, he wakes everyone up. And then what happens? Everyone gets up. So he wakes everyone up and then they get up, they leave the bed. Okay, you need to understand the difference between these two. Okay, those two are done. Now number 9 and 10. I put these two together because they are the opposite of each other. So turn on to start the operation of something and turn off to stop the operation of something. Okay. He turns off the light every time he leaves the room, and he turns on the light when he returns to the room because he doesn't like to waste anything. Okay, let's go over it again, trying to understand the meaning. He turns off the light. Off. So stop. Off is stop. He turns off the light, meaning he stop the light from operating. Yeah, he stopped the operation of the light. He turns off the light. He stops the operation of the light every time he leaves the room, and when he turns on the light, meaning he starts the operation of the light when he returns to the room back. Yeah, when he comes back to the room, he turns it on again. He starts the operation of the light. Okay, because he doesn't like to waste the electricity or anything. Okay, hopefully you have learned all these phrasal verbs. If you didn't, please watch the video again and again and again until you master them. And when you have learned them, please use them in your daily speaking. Try to speak every day and try to use the phrasal verbs instead of one-word verbs. Remember, native speakers learn phrasal verbs first, and when they grow up and get more education, they start learning those one-word verbs. That's the reality, and we don't realize it. Thank you for watching and staying with us. Bye. Take care.